Hey, welcome back to Better Than Yourself. Today on Better Than Yourself, Hungarian mushroom soup. What's better than Hungarian mushroom soup? Hungarian mushroom soup you can make in the Instant Pot. Got another Instant Pot recipe for you guys today. We're gonna do a Hungarian mushroom soup. Generally, the old style way takes about an hour to put together. Yeah, you still have to spend some time chopping the ingredients and, sauteing a couple of things, but basically we're gonna do the whole thing in the Instant Pot, and hopefully we're gonna knock this out in, well, the video's gonna be a couple minutes long, but we can knock the whole thing out in about half an hour. So stay tuned and we'll put together some Hungarian mushroom soup. The ingredients you'll need for your Hungarian mushroom soup are a pound of mushrooms, 2 cups of chopped onions, half a stick of butter, 3 tablespoons of flour, a tablespoon of dill weed, a tablespoon of Hungarian paprika, or just your standard garden variety grocery store paprika is fine, a tablespoon of soy sauce, a teaspoon of salt, 2 cups of stock. I'm using chicken stock. You can watch the chicken stock making video right over here. If you want to go with vegetable stock for this dish, have at it, guys. I'm using chicken stock. You can use vegetable stock. You can use water. You can make your own stock. You can use bone broth, whatever you like. 2 cups of liquid, put it that way. Finally, just to finish it up, we're going to add a little bit of lemon juice, some freshly chopped parsley, black pepper, and at the very end, we're going to throw in some sour cream and stir it up. I like to start by just giving the mushrooms a good soak. This is a pound of mushrooms, and I just soak them to get all the whatever it is they grow them in off of them. A lot of people say, oh God, don't soak your mushrooms. They absorb a lot of water. They're like little sponges. Not true. Old wives' tale. Do an experiment. Take your mushrooms, weigh them when you get them home, and you'll find they're probably less than a pound. Soak them, get all the crud off them, weigh them again, and they're right around a pound. Magic. Soak your mushrooms, get them clean, get on with your life. Let's get these sliced. So when you're not arguing about how to wash mushrooms properly, next thing you want to do is slice them as evenly and finely as possible. Let me show you what to do. What I like to do with each mushroom, you can take off this part. Sometimes these get really tough and woody, or just kind of dice them up a little bit. I'll take most of the stem off and then cut that up pretty finely, which is nice because it flattens out the bottom of the mushroom. Then you've got a nice flat surface to chop on. So at this point, you just want to try to do nice even slices, a little less than 1/8 of an inch thick each. And go through all your mushrooms like that. Just kind of a quick chop on the little woody stem there, and then your best slicing technique on the mushroom cap itself. Once you've got your mushroom sliced up, go ahead and chop your onions. Once you've got your onions chopped up, go ahead and start putting stuff in the Instant Pot. Half a stick of butter. I've got the Instant Pot set on the saute feature, and it's hot. It's been heating up for a while. So go ahead and melt the butter in the Instant Pot, and then we'll add the onions. Once that butter starts to sizzle, you can put the onions in. Now the tricky thing about cooking with onions is you really want to caramelize them. You really want to get like a nice brown on them. I've seen people add brown sugar to their onions that they're frying, and it doesn't really go very well for them because the sugar tends to burn. But I like to just put the onions in. You saw the butter was in there. Put the onions in. Just let them sit for a minute. Let them cook. The problem with cooking in the Instant Pot is this kind of restricted opening to the thing. If I were doing this in real life, I'd have a big wide pan that I could spread my onions out so I could get lots of onion on the cooking surface. As it is, I don't really have that here. So stir them around, get the butter on the onions. But this is going to take a minute. This is probably going to take about 10 minutes. So just let this sit. You really don't need to stir it the whole time. The Instant Pot doesn't get that hot. You'll notice, you'll look in here at some point and it looks like it's burning, that it's sticking to the bottom of the pot. Don't worry about it. It gives you a nice color, and they're really not going to burn it. I mean, unless it turns black, maybe you want to stir it a little bit, but I'm just literally gonna let this go for 5 minutes and not touch it. And we'll come back, we'll stir it, and then we'll come in again about 5 minutes later, give it another stir, and the onions will be right where we want them. Meanwhile, I can be getting the rest of dinner ready. Starting to see a little bit of brown poke through there. So I'm gonna give them the first stir. Let's let that go. I'm probably another 2-3 minutes. Probably don't need another whole 5 minutes on that this time. Once your onions are looking nice and brown and you're getting a nice smell off them, I always joke with my wife. She comes in, I'm cooking supper, and oh, John, it smells really good. Yeah, I just started frying onions. Something about frying onions. There's just a lot of volatiles. There's a lot of aromas and smells and umami in these onions. So you really take advantage of that when you make stuff. Really let your onions get a nice brown on them, and I think you'll find that it really boosts your cooking. But once my onions start looking like I want, all that extra butter just to cook that amount of onions wasn't really for the onions, but more to make a roux. What we're gonna do is basically pre-establish our roux in the Instant Pot, and then we'll put everything down on top of it and stir it together and then cook it like that. Generally, when you make soups like this without an Instant Pot, if I were just making this, I would do the roux in a separate pot on the stove and then add it to the soup. Not so much with the Instant Pot. We can cut a couple corners. So down goes the flour. We'll stir that in. And also, I wouldn't want to add this flour right at the end of the recipe because you need to cook flour. Flour needs to get cooked. It is just, the raw ground wheat. It's not going to taste good. So you want to make sure whenever you add flour to something that you really fry it a little bit. I've got it mixed in with that raw butter. I'm making sure there's no big lumps of flour left. I'll let it cook for, 30 seconds here, and the amount of time that I'm frying it. But yeah, you don't want raw flour in your soup. Let that get a little brown to it. But what that's gonna do is it's gonna fry, and it's gonna become a thickening agent in the final soup. So, doing good so far. We've got our dill. I just bought this little sprig in the supermarket. Sometimes it's kind of hard to find. You might need to shop around for it. You can use the dried dill if you want. I just like the fresh if you can find it. Cut off the thicker stems, and then I'll probably use what I tell you the recipe calls for 2 teaspoons. Let's put a teaspoon in and we'll cook it, and we'll save the second teaspoon for garnish. So pretty much everything goes in now. Get our sliced mushrooms in there. Our paprika goes in. Teaspoon of salt. Tablespoon of soy sauce. 2 cups of stock, water, veg stock, whatever you like. And that's it. We got it all in, and we're ready to pressure cook our soup. So steam valve to locked position. We're going to come off of saute, and we're gonna go for a manual pressure cook of 8 minutes. So let this do its thing. You know the drill. Get the lid on tight, get the valve in the right place, and we'll let this cook in 8 minutes. Alright, you saw everything that went in the pot. You noticed I didn't put everything in the pot. There's a reason for that. We're pressure cooking. And a lot of things don't like getting pressure cooked because of the high heat involved. Pressure cooking works because you can basically cook things above the temperature of boiling water. In my old kitchen, I could never raise anything above 212 degrees, the boiling point of water. So with this method, I can raise this temperature much higher than that, and as a result, my mushrooms cook faster. I can cook my mushrooms in, 8 minutes, I told you? But some things don't like that heat, namely dairy products. Dairy products don't like that intense heat. They'll curdle, they'll coagulate, they'll separate, they'll get clumpy and lumpy, and I don't like to think about what's gonna happen. So I'm gonna stir these in at the end. They don't need to get pressure cooked, they don't need it. They just need to get warmed up with the soup. The parsley didn't go in. I don't want to pressure cook this. I'm gonna use this as my garnish. This is gonna look pretty. This is gonna be a nice dark green, pretty color, a little bit of crunch to it, a lot of flavor, and a nice fresh taste to it. I'm not gonna pressure cook it. The lemon. The lemon is an acid. It's gonna counteract that half stick of butter in there, kind of that balance out the acid and the oil. but also I don't want to pressure cook it. I want that bright, fresh lemon taste in my soup. I'm gonna add this at the end with, just to taste my soup, give it a little shot of lemon, and brighten the soup up. It's pressure cooked soup, so how good can it be? Well, it's gonna be awesome. But how good can it be? We're gonna brighten it up with a little shot of lemon right at the end, and it's gonna be awesome. All right, well, I think, nope, still waiting to come up to town. All right, it's a waiting game now, guys. Once the countdown finishes, you can go ahead and just do a quick release. Once you hear the pin drop and you can open your Instant Pot, we can finish the soup. Just give this a quick stir, and it tastes delicious. But like I said, just need a little bit. Need a little bit of lemon juice. Half a teaspoon. A little bit of fresh dill. About, let's call it a quarter of a cup of parsley. And the milk, cup of milk. If you like pepper, add lots of pepper. Stir that in, and your soup is ready. Let's get a bowl and give this a taste. As you can see, we got beautiful color out of the paprika. Our mushrooms are nice and tender and evenly sliced. The onions are nice and translucent from that long saute and then the pressure cook. And finally, it's delicious. We've got lots of nice mushroom flavor. That chicken stock stands out in it. The fresh dill and the fresh parsley are awesome. Just a little sprinkle of salt. And if you're so inclined, a little dollop of sour cream. And that's Hungarian mushroom soup in the Instant Pot. Hope you enjoy it, guys. See you next time. Don't forget to click subscribe and share. The little curvy arrow right down here, the little arrow that says share, hit that and share it with all your friends. They'll love you for it. Take care, everybody. Enjoy.